identify yourself for the first question. Go ahead, Coach.
All righty, guys. Thanks for being here today. 1-0 on the week. That was our goal going into Morgan State, and try to get better with each and every play and try to gain some continuity, some experience through reps. I thought defensively, a very sound game for our defense, playing a lot of players, so a lot of substitutions that allowed a lot of kids to play. And we walked into that game really wanting to be able to play sound fundamental football. And I thought that was executed. Anytime that you have 4 turnovers on the day, our goal is always 3 a game, and you look up and you got a 4-to-1 ratio plus 3 on the day. Obviously, that sets great field position. I thought defensively was just phenomenal. Obviously, some areas to grow. We missed a couple tackles that led to explosive plays that we can't have this week against an exceptional Nebraska team, but thought they did extremely well. Offensively, really got into the flow of the game. Was a little bit slow coming off. We're going to have to start faster as an offense. We expect to. That's our standard. But as we got into the game, really, I thought the kids stayed poised. They took a deep breath, and they grew with each play and got better with each play. And then the chemistry hit about the second quarter and then flourished from there. I did like the balance, especially in the red zone, of being able to incorporate the run games. The running backs had 5 touchdowns, wideouts 4. 6 of the 7 tries down in the red zone ended up in touchdowns, 7 for 7 on the day. So I thought the red zone efficiency was good. Obviously, a turnover pick 6 is something that we'd love to have back. I thought Kyle made the right decision of where the ball was going, but got hit from the blind side, and the ball sailed on him. You look up and you score 59 points and you have 500 yards, and you probably would say, oh, yeah, what a great day. But we're all perfectionists, whether it's myself, Coach Ellis, Kyle, our offense. We know that there's some things that we left out there that we can improve on going into Nebraska and look to improve each and every game. Probably the proudest I was probably our coverage units on special teams. It was a big point of emphasis that we've made, not only in spring training but in fall camp, and I thought the coverage units did an exceptional job. Najee Harris is one of the best special teams players in the country. He proved that again in this game, really setting field position. I thought Anthony Beck did a tremendous job being able to put them inside the 10-yard a bunch of times, and our kickoff coverage team did an amazing job of holding them within the 25 multiple times. You look up, and I think their average starting position was a 21-yard line compared to ours, 46-yard line, almost playing at midfield. So obviously when you have that, one, you're getting turnovers, but 2, your special teams are playing really good football. So with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Coach, I know you guys were really high on your freshman class that were coming in. A lot of those guys played.
Yeah.
A couple of them started. Your thoughts on how the freshmen did and how you feel like they're coming around?
Yeah, we played a lot of them in this game and got the opportunity to. Obviously, some of them played and contributed early. Some of them got in late, but was proud of the training that they've got all the way up to this. We take a lot of pride, even on Sundays yesterday, of training the players that didn't get a ton of reps. That we really focus on them on Sundays and try to continue to advance them. And I think that's what we saw. We saw kids at their first time out in a college atmosphere. It was a great college atmosphere. I thank our fans for that. And I didn't see any of the big eyes. I thought they went out there and made their plays. Marcus Sanders gets his first catch. Amari Arnold scores two touchdowns. Latrell Bullard, really was a force in the interior part. Mark Stampley made some nice plays out there. So, you look up and you go, wow, we got to play a lot of players, gain a lot of experience, and it's the perfect scenario. You have a big win, and you could coach them even harder, and there's some things out there that we got to improve on. So it's a perfect storm for us as coaches to be able to have some kids that really are accepting coaching and be able to see, yeah, we can do even more, and it's great to get those freshmen out there.
Hey, Coach, a couple of questions right off the top. Can you talk about the health of your team? With Brian Miller's, he's been out for a while with a hand injury, and you had a freshman, I believe, start in his place. You want to talk about that, please? And also, you mentioned Amari Jones at the post game. What is his situation? And then I'll ask another.
Yeah, definitely. With Brian, he's actually getting re-seen today. He was close. It was very close in that opening game. But about Friday, we said we want to be able to wait and get reevaluated on Monday. We'll do that today. We'll see where he is. I think he is really close, so we'll see on Tuesday practice what he can do if he's cleared. Right now, he's not medically cleared. He's got to get that way. And then, with Amari, got stepped on the foot and swole up a little bit on him. And at that point in time, we were ahead, really precautionary. He was a little sore yesterday, so we didn't do anything yesterday with him. We'll see where he's at Tuesday, but I think it's day to day. Knowing him, he'll be ready for the game.
Anybody else in that realm of game day status?
No, Chewy obviously had a knee injury that we're getting MRI on Wednesday. He had some swelling on that knee. We're going to let it calm down, MRI it. He'll be definitely out for this game. Besides that, everything else was bumps and bruises.
Okay. On the teleconference just a few minutes ago, you mentioned Nebraska being back to reality. Can you extrapolate on what reality is going to be on Saturday for you guys?
Well, you look at the quality of talent on that field that is amassed from the quarterback to the offensive skill positions. They got three really talented running backs. One that I think is going to be one of the best in the country when you look up at the end of the year, and you look at the receivers that are outside. They've really have brought in some kids in the transfer portal that are exceptional football players. And Scott's a really good coach, offensive-minded coach that can really do some big things and put points on the board. And you look at the players that he has. We're going to have to do our best job fundamentally and technique-wise, defensively, to get the ball down. Tackling is going to be at a premium, and then defensively, man, they just have veteran leadership across the board. A lot of guys that have played a lot of football. You look at this team, and it's a team. I don't know if there's been a team that's been in closer games, a multiple of closer games against really quality opponents than them in the country. And so we know how talented this team is. We know they're well coached. You look at what Scott did at Central Florida. He's right on the cusp of doing this at Nebraska, in my opinion. And we're going to have to put our best foot forward and really improve from game 1 to game 2.
Clay's second half performance was a problem for this team last year. I'm sure you watched plenty of tape on that.
Yeah.
To go out and win a second half 42-0 in the first game of the year, what kind of confidence boost is that for the guys, particularly the guys who played on last year's team and remember, how far they've come?
Yeah, I'm big on situations, as I've talked to you many times. I believe in situational mastery and educating the kids on situational mastery. And as we all know, one of the most critical parts of the game is the last 3 to 4 minutes of the first half and the first 3 to 4 minutes of the second half, and to be able to get a 2-score lead going into halftime in that last 4 minutes of the first half, then coming out, getting a 3 and out, and within the first 4 minutes of the second half, being able to now make it a 3-score lead. I thought that was really important, not only for us situationally, but for our growth and confidence. This is an offense that, is growing not only in their fundamentals and technique, but their confidence. And with each play, they gain more confidence. I watched Sam Kinnerson right before my eyes turn into a dynamo. Something that he's really done in practice, but all of a sudden, as he got into game flow, you could just see the comfort level of him at the wide receiver position. So, to be able to have a second half like that, we talk about it, being able to make adjustments, being able to make sure that when we come in, that it's not emotion, it's about communication, identifying what's going on, being able to either adapt a plan or tell them what's going on and here's what we're going to do in the second half, and communicating that's important for kids and it's important for coaches. That's our job. And for the kids to go out there and execute it, you walk off the field in the second half and you're a proud football coach.
Clay, just a little bit talking about Nebraska as well. What's that game plan and what are you guys going to focus on in practice heading into that big game?
Well, it starts by you have to get the ball on the ground. I think they have 3 exceptional running backs. It's really a 3-headed monster. It starts with 10. You see the explosive runs he's had, in the first 2 games. And when you load the box, they have weapons on the outside that are explosive, and we're going to have to hold up in our one-on-one battles on the outside. So It's going to be an exceptional defensive challenge for our defense against what I think is a really good offensive football team. You look at, they start off a little bit slow in that game last year, and then you blink your eyes and there's 38 points on the board out of nowhere. And I mean, they can get hot and get hot in a hurry. And then offensively, I really, we're going to have to be patient. This is a defense that really makes you earn it. You don't see missed assignments, you don't see technique busts. They make you go the long way, and you have to execute, and you can't get behind the chains. Their edge rushers will be as good as we see all year, and they've got 3 or 4 of them that are special, that are NFL football players. And so not only within our game planning do we have to game plan for that, but also we're going to have to win some one-on-one battles at the tackle position and be able to hold up. And like we did last game, just have enough balance in that run game. That's the quarterback's best friend. If we can get the run game where it's effective, especially in the red zone like it was last week, that's a quarterback's best friend.
Didn't get a chance to ask you about this after the game, but I noticed a lot of hurry-up offense in the first half, particularly. What are the challenges associated with installing that? How do you think the team has done compared to where you expected them to be after 1 week, just in terms of coordination?
Yeah, if you would have told me 59 points and 500 yards in game 1, I probably would have taken it right off the bat. But the thing that we try to do tempo-wise, we really feel as the game goes on, hopefully we're wearing down your defense. The way we practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays is physically tough, and the kids accept that. They know it going in. We win the game on Tuesdays and Wednesdays by how hard we practice, going good on good, tackling. A lot of teams don't tackle during the week. We do, and so we have those one-on-one battles good on good, and so we put them in adverse situations, whether it's with tempo, which promotes conditioning, whether it's one-on-one situations. So all of a sudden you look up and it's Derek Canteen going against Derwin Burgess, and well, Derwin's used to that, and he's now on SportsCenter top 10 because he's used to making that standard of catch each and every day. So if you put your kids in adverse situations and you train them for that, Saturdays become a lot easier, and that's a lot to do with the tempo. I mean, we practice fast during the week. Our kids are conditioned to be able to do that, and you look in the third and fourth quarters when that plays count's getting up to 60, 70. Last game, if you count penalties, it was in the 80s. 83 plays, I think, that were run total, and then you get some wearing down in that fourth quarter like you saw in the last game.
A quick follow-up
Yeah.
to my question I asked earlier about the freshmen. You had at least 4. You had 2 true freshmen and 2 redshirt freshmen playing on the offensive line. I know that's not typically what you want to have, but by necessity, and how those guys did Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was great growth for Rasheem, especially. That was his first time in a significant role. Not everything was perfect, as we saw, but I thought he was really combative, and the adjustment that was made, especially when Caleb went out, they have to go from left to right. I thought he functioned really well on the right side. Griffin came in and did a wonderful job at left tackle, and really for those 2 kids to be in positions that they haven't been in with Brian and Caleb out, man, couldn't be any more prouder. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but I thought 2 things happened. One, I thought Coach Ellis did a really good job of picking rhythm plays, not holding on to the ball excessively long. We were getting a lot of penetration rushes, so you saw the screen game open up, which created a big play. So I thought play calling went good. And then credit the quarterback. We say protection is about team protection, and I didn't see Kyle, sit back there with the ball. He made good decisions, but he made timely decisions too, and he got the ball out. And that's when you have a young offensive line and you have a veteran quarterback, that's what you expect from that veteran quarterback, is to be able to, hey, I'm going to make the decision, I'm going to get this ball out on time.
Last year, the team.
I see you got one more. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, last year the team struggled on the road. This is going to be your first road trip with your crew, everything, and it's going to be a pretty hostile environment to kind of baptism by fire here. Your thoughts on going into a place like this, for Kyle. He's been there. A lot of these guys haven't been in that kind of situation. Plus, just all the things that come with the travel.
Yeah, what a historic place. I got goosebumps. I've never had the opportunity to go to Lincoln. I've always wanted to have the opportunity to compete. It's a historic place with unbelievable tradition and a great fan base. And so I see it as one of those, adverse learning opportunities because you look at our schedule for the first 6 games are on the road. So here we go right into that fire and what great learning lessons we can learn from this while trying to be successful. And so there's a couple kids that'll be their first time on a plane. I know Marcus Sanders. I talked to Marcus and Jet Thompson the other day. I thought, Coach, never been on a plane. This will be my first time. So how exciting! I mean, this is what we live to do, is to be able to. This is why you come to Georgia Southern, is to play in big games. And here we get to go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and get to compete against a really quality football team, and that's what great college football is about.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
First up will be linebacker Todd Flynn, and then we'll follow it up with quarterback Kyle Vantrease. Go ahead, Todd.
Well, Todd, not much time to kind of celebrate the victories. You guys got to get ready for Nebraska. How's the team feeling right now, and just a little bit about the challenge ahead?
We're feeling pretty good, just coming off a good win. Just trying to put together another good week and prepare for a very, very good opponent. We're just looking forward to the opportunity going up there. It's going to be a big game, and a lot of guys excited to just go up there and play football and compete.
Obviously, Nebraska, one of the best crowds, best venues in the country. Communication on defense with 80,000 people screaming at you. How are you going to handle that? Because I know it can be kind of a different level of challenge when you've got that big a crowd.
Communication a big part of just defense in general. But we try to practice that every day and just being vocal with getting lined up, stuff like that, getting everybody on the same page. So we try to do that regularly. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit harder with the crowd and a lot of noise, but we should be able to handle it and get everybody lined up and play some good football.
Todd, for a lot of guys, this will be their first plane trip, let alone first road game.
Yeah.
How much have they come to you, and how much have you offered, some suggestions of how to handle things when you're having to go on the road?
They're excited. Of course, they're gonna have a little bit of nerves, but end of the day, I just always tell them it's just football. End of the day, same game we played as a little kid. Just a couple more people watching, but as long as you focus in, it's pretty simple.
Do you remember your first plane ride with the team and what that was like? And did you ask for anybody to kind of talk to you?
Nah, not really. I think the first time I got on a plane was the first time I ever flew. Well, I was kind of nervous, stuff like that. So it's a lot of things. Like, you just gotta let them go through it themselves, and then you talk to them after. But you can prepare them all you want. But just experience you gotta have firsthand.
What do you know about Nebraska, and what do you expect from their offense?
They got a lot of good running backs, a couple good running backs. They can really run it at any moment. They can take it to the house, so we gotta be prepared for that. Got a good quarterback, and they got some big time receivers on the outside and good O-line. So we're gonna have to be fundamentally sound this week and play football and just get lined up. But we're gonna have to bring it, play good football. So.
Yeah, amongst the running backs, Anthony Grant has a ton of yards already. He's the guy that they already think he might be one of their best, which is saying something. What do you say specifically about him? I think he has like 290 yards in 2 games.
He's just very explosive. If you just watch the tape, he's a guy that can one cut, jump cut, and take it to the distance, inside, outside, anything. He's he's a special guy with the ball in his hands, but he's just really good. So we're gonna have to do our best job against him.
The game against Morgan State, their best running back that night, Graham, had a good average, had a good amount of yards. What did that indicate anything of things that you needed to work on when a guy was able to break loose like that?
We just got to tackle better, just honing in on our fundamentals. That's the biggest thing. think both the runs he broke, we had a couple several missed tackles on the play by several guys. But we need to just wrap up, bring our feet, things like that, focus on things like that, and get them on the ground.
Can you just speak a little about your leadership and, helping groom the younger guys, the freshmen? What are you telling them in the locker room?
With me, it's more like not what I'm telling them, it's what I'm showing them. Just every day preparing, things like that. Sometimes coming in with the young guys watching film, show them how to prepare and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really just showing them how it's done and things like that. Not too much talking, but on the field, just showing them the way. And like at the end of the day, I said it's just football. I don't try to make things too big, and it's gonna be a big game, but I don't want them to get psyched out and just want to relax and play free, have fun.
Anything else for Todd? Thank you so much, Todd. Bring in quarterback Kyle Vantrease. All right, guys, open up for questions. Grab the mic and we'll go.
Kyle, now that you've had a chance to see the eye in the sky and all that, anything that you picked up from the game that you may not have seen kind of in the moment, things that you were hopeful, felt good about, and maybe some things that you got to work on?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play a game, you're going to find stuff in the film that you didn't see in real time. And, there's a lot of opportunities out there in the run game and the pass game that we missed. And that's always a good sign because it gives us room for improvement and things to focus on, which excites us because we got another great opportunity this week to go out and correct those mistakes and execute better.
Yeah, Kyle, you had that one mistake with the pick six in the first half and then no big ones after that. People always talk about quarterbacks having to put mistakes behind them and carry on. Mm-hmm. As a guy who's pretty far into his college career, how do you learn to do that? How do you develop the mental skills to move on from mistakes where you may not have had those skills as a freshman or sophomore or underclassman?
Yeah, it's just about, getting on to the next play, and, the most important throw is the next throw. And when you're in an offense like this where you're trying to be as explosive as you can be, sometimes you just have to drive fast and take chances. And whatever happens, move on to the next play because the next play might be the big play. So it's all mindset. It's all just flushing what you just did, whether good or bad, and moving on to the next play.
Kyle, you had a couple of true freshmen on the offensive line playing significant snaps. You had a couple of redshirt freshmen that were in there as well. How do you feel like those guys did? And then overall, the O-line is a big concern last year. It looked like they improved a lot through the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to get young guys out there on the field and give them experience, live in-game reps to, again, see the film and watch them grow. And Saturday night was a great opportunity for them to go and put film out there for their coaches to analyze, for them to analyze and see where they need to improve. But the offensive line did a great job. No sacks, no TFLs. That's no matter who you play. That's a hard thing to do. And I couldn't be more proud of those guys, and I'm excited to see them as the season progresses.
Didn't get the chance to ask you about the Derwin catch after the Saturday game. I know it's all over Twitter. It's on SportsCenter Top 10. What did you see on the field? Did you know he had caught it right after it happened, or?
So I got hit on that play, so I didn't really actually see the catch at all. But I threw the ball up there knowing that I've got a great guy out there who's going to go up and make plays for this team, and that's exactly what he did. Now, did I know it was a one-hand catch? No, I did not, which is pretty cool to see. And that kid works his tail off, and he perfects his craft as much as he can. And to see him go out there and put it on film and do it in a game setting is awesome.
Yeah, I got one more quick question for you. You played against Nebraska when you were at Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Does that give you any kind of extra expertise to add to the film room this week, or does the team change so much from one year to the other that any knowledge you had is kind of outdated by this point?
There's no such thing as knowledge that's outdated. No matter who you play, the offense could change, the defense could change. You have to just absorb as much information as you can. Obviously, it is a different team, so things do change. But I can't go into this game thinking about things that happened last year because it's a whole new setting, it's a whole new environment, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to go back out there to Nebraska. I mean, it's a great environment, great fans. You got a great team. Defensively, they get after it. They're a huge effort-based team, and they They play really hard, so it'll be really fun to get out there.
I do want you to reminisce a little bit about last season, since it was so recent. And Nebraska, since then, they went on a long losing streak, not right after that game, but shortly thereafter in October. So they've been, in a certain situation. But as far as you're reminiscing about that game, what do you remember about just the feeling of walking into a stadium with about 86,000 people? I don't know how many Buffalo fans were there, but could you ever hear the Buffalo fans at all during the game?
I get asked this question a lot, no matter where I play. Is I don't really hear the crowd ever, to be honest, is because I'm just so focused on what's going on in front of me, and when I'm on the sideline, I'm focused on, correcting, adjusting, all this stuff. So I don't actually ever hear the crowd, no matter how loud it is. But I do know that it's a great environment there. Communication is going to be super important for us, offensively, defensively, special teams, from coach to player, player to coach, and player to player. It's a good challenge for us to, see where we're at in the season. We're really excited for it.
Can you relive for us the punt, the 81-yard punt? What were the circumstances that you were punting to begin with, and then what happened on the play where you got such a big gain right there?
Yeah, I mean, I've punted pretty much my whole entire life, all the way throughout high school into college, and the year before that, 2 years before that, our punter went down and broke his leg against Penn State, and I actually went in and punted. So it was something that I've always been able to do, and we kind of used that to our advantage, and it's something I'm always willing to do because the field position battle is something that can win and lose games. And looking back on that, I didn't try and hit a great ball. I didn't try and hit as far as I could. I just kind of wanted to get it out there and let my guys go cover it, and it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. But it was pretty cool to hold that record in their stadium for a little while.
What was the yard? Where did you kick from, and where did it end up?
Yeah, so the ball was on the 19, and I kicked it out the back of the end zone. So it was 81 yards, net 61 yards or something like that. So,
Kyle, you didn't take any sacks, and a lot of that credit goes to the offensive line, but a lot of that credit also goes, as Coach Helton mentioned, is to you knowing when to get rid of the ball. How important is it to kind of get the feel for how long you've got and to be able to get rid of it instead of taking sacks that are going to hurt you guys, 10, 15 yards possibly?
Yeah, no, sacks most of the time are on the quarterback because of their holding onto the ball and they're begging things to be open. But the offensive line did a great job, and as you get more experience and you grow and you learn, and especially in this offense, the faster you can get the ball out, and get the ball into playmakers' hands like Caleb Hood or Sam Kennerson or Derwin Burgess or Jeremy Singleton or Amari Jones, any of those guys. And that's a small list of plenty that we have. If I can get the ball to them fast and let them go do their work and do what they're, on that field to do, then that's better for all of us.
Is there a clock in your head that says 1, 2, 3?
Yeah. There's a little. I don't actively think about it, but if you're holding on to the ball for too long, it becomes, you kind of start feeling a little bit of the panic or the pocket closing a little bit. But
Nebraska, what have you seen from them on defense? Obviously they've got a lot of guys back that you've seen, but what have you seen on film, and what do you expect Saturday?
Yeah, just like Coach Helton had said, they're a big effort-based team, and they're going to make you earn it. They've got a lot of great players, a lot of technically sound, fundamentally sound players, and they play really hard. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, one-on-one battles all across the board to go out there and win. And I'm really excited to watch the guys go and do it.
It's a different opponent, but you guys threw the ball a lot last week. But from what I've seen of Nebraska, watching the Northwestern game and then reading up on the North Dakota game, they gave up some big run plays, some big gash plays where they big chunk explosive plays. Do you think, just judging from here on Monday, do you think you're going to do more running plays than maybe people just off of very recent history where you guys were throwing much more? Do you think there's going to be a better balance or even more of an emphasis on the run?
Yeah, I've said this before, and it's been said by plenty of other people before me, but football is a game of adjustments, and you have to go with the flow of the game. And if the running game is working really well, then you're going to use that until it doesn't. If the pass game works really well, you're going to do that until it doesn't. And they're going to play off each other. So obviously we need to establish a run game first to open up the pass game. And that's going to be a big point of emphasis for us this week. But, again, those are more playmakers in the backfield that I can give them the ball and let them go and do exactly what they're meant to do.
All right, any other questions? Yeah. All right.
Thank you, guys.